Most people meet Claude the same way. A text box. You type. It answers. You close the tab. That is one door into a much bigger building, and almost nobody knows the other doors exist. So here is the whole thing in 5 minutes. Chat, code, Cowork, skills, and plugins. What each one actually is, and when you would use it. One rule on this channel. If a 15-year-old could not follow it, I explained it wrong. Start with the thing that makes all of this make sense. Claude is the model, the thinking part. Everything else is a different way of handing that model a job. So the difference between these products is not intelligence, it is access. How much of your stuff the model can see, and how much it is allowed to do without asking you again. Keep that in your head, and the rest is easy. First door, chat. This is the one you know. You ask, it answers. You decide what to do with the answer. Chat is a conversation, good for thinking something through or producing a piece of writing. But you are doing the work. Claude hands you a thing and you go use it. Second door, Claude Code. This one lives in a terminal, the plain text window developers use to control a computer. It is built for people who write software. The difference is enormous. In chat, Claude tells you what to change. In Claude Code, it reads your actual files, makes the changes, runs the tests, and reports back. You stopped asking for advice. You started delegating a task. Third door, Cowork. Cowork takes that same idea and points it at ordinary work instead of code. Anthropic describes it as built for where non-technical knowledge work happens. Local files, folders, the apps people use every day, aimed at researchers, analysts, operations, legal, finance. Anyone whose day is full of jobs that eat hours without being complicated. And the distinction they draw is a good one. Chat asks you to break a task into individual prompts. Cowork takes the whole task. So instead of asking 12 questions about 12 documents, you hand over the folder and say what you want at the end. Now the two pieces that make all three of those better, and these are the ones almost nobody understands. Skills. A skill is a folder of instructions that Claude loads only when it is relevant. Anthropic's own definition is that skills teach Claude how to complete specific tasks in a repeatable way. They can be plain written instructions, no coding needed, and they can include scripts and reference files for more complicated jobs. Here is why that matters. Claude knows a great deal in general. It does not know how your company writes a report, or the 7 steps your team takes before sending an invoice. A skill is where you put that. Write it once, and every time the task comes up, Claude follows your way instead of a generic way. And it only loads when it applies. That is called progressive disclosure. Claude looks at what is available, picks the relevant ones, and ignores the rest. So it is not carrying instructions for 100 jobs while doing one. Then plugins. A plugin is a bundle. Skills, tools, and connections to other software, packaged together and installed in one go. So instead of writing your own skill for a design tool or a spreadsheet system, someone who knows that tool has already written it, along with the connection to the software itself. You install the bundle, and Claude can now do that work. And plugins get collected into marketplaces, which are just places to browse and install them. So, all of it in one breath. Claude is the model. Chat is a conversation where you do the work. Claude Code hands it your codebase. Cowork hands it your files and your task. Skills teach it your specific way of doing something. Plugins are bundles of skills and tools somebody else already built. The whole ladder is the same idea repeated. Each step gives the model more of your context and more permission to act. And the useful bit is that you get to choose where on that ladder you stand. Explained like you are 15, because somebody should have.